and I'll be discovered, and it'll all just work out. And what?
On the upside, I think it's easier to find your audience than it's ever been, right?
Sure.
But it's
Yeah.
also harder.
It's hard. Yeah. I mean, it's
like
also
more possible. But
it's real tricky.
let me ask you this: were you still wanting to be an actor when you moved to New York, or
No, I had set that. I burned that down. I just didn't. I found when I was in Chicago trying to do some Second City stuff that I like had fun with it, but I didn't. The theater school of it all was a lot for me. It's competitive and it's not always very welcoming, and it feels extra and cutthroat sometimes. When I was younger, I didn't enjoy. I didn't find. Let me say. How do I say this? I did not feel like I belonged as part of the community. I didn't feel, and that could be
I
that's
see,
no
like
one's
in the
fault.
theater community?
Yeah, I just felt I was like, this doesn't feel right to me, and I also don't feel like I trust these people. And it's no disrespect to anybody; it's more my own insecurities than anything at the time. But like,
No, but and what strikes me is it sounds like you were first drawn to it because you felt you could trust these people and like
yeah,
you could relate to them and they were like maybe a safe haven
yep,
for. And it almost seems like once you were out, once you had like figured out who you were and were comfortable, like more comfortable in your own skin, maybe like the rest of it wasn't like what was
sure,
left for you
yeah.
wasn't
It
that
wasn't.
appealing anymore.
It wasn't. But also, yeah, I just remember. This is gonna sound so pathetic because I don't hang on to this in terms of does it make me feel bad, but it made me feel really bad at the time. I was doing a play at Tallahassee Little Theater. It was probably one of the last plays I did, and it was like I was the lead, and I was having so much fun. I got Katie Sharble wrote me the. It was my first time I ever got reviewed. It was glowing. It was like so. I was so proud, and I was having such a great time. And two of my castmates, both of them who are amazing actors and were really good, and they were a little more darlings of the crew than I was. I think they both wanted the part that I got, so that was one part of it, and I think that was like, and maybe it was just all like unintended stuff. But I remember right before we were going on for like the opening night, and I was just like soaring. It was like at that point I thought I was famous, right? Because I hadn't even left Tallahassee, and I had gotten a good review, and I was in the Democrat limelight,
Big
whatever.
fish, small pond
Exactly.
kind of
That's
thing,
the
at
story.
least,
That's
right?
the story, and it was really hard because coming from Wakulla, where I was big fish, small pond, it took me years in Tallahassee even like to. I felt like I really had to fight to even get to that point because I felt like I got Tallahassee, and you go to FSU, especially at the time, theater school, music school. That's the best singers and actors I've seen. So talented, and so like
Yeah,
it
I've seen some
was
incredible
some of the
shows
best
there.
shows I've ever
Yeah.
seen. Better there. I have seen more great shows back in the day at FSU than I have on Broadway that I've paid too much money to see. But right before, like one of these guys, they were like giving me like a break a leg kind of like let's do it thing, and then they were just like one of them said something to me like, for me and Derek, this is we're actually like planning to do this for a living. Like it's some kind of comment he said was was like definitely intended to be a dick move, but also and to rock my game or whatever. But it was like shit like that where people are trying to get in your head so you don't do well. I know that I don't think either of these people would do this today, and neither of them would think anything of it. But the fact that you would do that to somebody that you're also like in the production with,
Right.
so you're willing to sabotage your own situation because somebody got the role and they're doing good at it and they're getting praise for it, and so you think that it's a good idea. So that kind of behavior doesn't. I'm sure it exists in music, plenty of places.
It definitely exists in comedy.
Yeah, I'm sure it does. I'm
Like
sure it does.
probably more than I've seen in other communities sometimes.
I can see that. Yeah.
Just sometimes. I think partially because it is like it's a solo thing
Yeah.
in here like completely. And everybody is in it for themselves. And everybody thinks that they're the funniest or they'd be
Sure.
writing the jokes that the other people are telling. You know what I mean? Like
yeah, no, 100%.
were you like trying to pursue anything when you moved to New York? Or
I
did
mean,
that kind of
in my head, I was going to pursue music. I
Okay.
was like, but also,
you were scared?
I was scared. And also, I had gone back and forth, but I was bartending and then I was working I got pulled into a publishing job. And I was like, oh, I'll do this publishing thing. And maybe I won't worry about music anymore or theater or anything like that. Maybe I'll be a real guy, do a real job, whatever the fuck that means. And And it's funny because I wish I could go back and tell myself different, but you start to get a certain age, you're like, oh god, I'm 24 now. I really should like give up this dream. I gotta get this.
It was the opposite for me.
Yeah.
I was a young dad, and it wasn't until like my kid was an adult, pretty much, that I
You're
was like,
like,
oh, now I'm gonna do the shit that I've always wanted to do. And
Sure.
but I understand what you mean.
Yeah.
Because I still like my clock's ticking.
No, I feel the same way. How old is your son?
My daughter is
Oh, sorry,
she's
I don't know why I
18.
said- Yeah.
But yeah, it's like at this point, and I don't really talk about her on here, but
Sorry.
no, that's fine. I'm just
Makes
saying it wasn't until like I was like, I played that game of,
Yeah.
okay, I got to do the responsible thing for all this time. And it was the opposite for me. Once I didn't have to do it anymore, or didn't feel like it was too risky to do what I
Right.
really wanted to do. I was like, all right, you only live once. This
Yes.
is my only life.